Hey guys, Jake here, going over the split-based view application template within the Xcode 4. And as you guys saw in the previous tutorial, it's kind of an intro, but we've got a master list here with this split view based, and then we've got our detail view that correlates to the items in the master list here. So as we switch over to just our landscape view here, you can see that I've already added or pre-populated 2 items within our master list, and then I've also changed the title up here. Again, it's not correlated to the detail view yet, but that's going to be future tutorials. So let's launch into it. Get out of the simulator here, just X out or quit, and then we're actually going to launch a new project just so you guys can follow along. But go ahead and choose a template. This is a split view based application, and create your new project. Name it whatever you like. In this case, I'm just gonna split view 4, and go ahead and create your project. So as we look at the split view based, we've got 3 main areas. We've got our split view delegate, our detail view controller, and then our root view controller, which is our master list. We're going to launch into the root view controller.m, the implementation files, and we're basically going to set up an array. And the array is going to have all of our logo lists that we'd like to include in there. And so right after the synthesize detail view controller, we're just going to establish our array here. And then we're going to give it a name of logo lists. Now after it's been established, don't forget your semicolon. We're going to go under the view did load here. Give ourselves a little bit of space, and this is where we're going to initialize the array. And with that, we're going to first put in our name that we established earlier, that we have there, logo list, and then we're going to have it equal to, then as mutable array, allocate, and after you've got that in place, this is where we're going to start building our array with objects. And so these are going to be the objects that will show up in your list. So as you guys add your objects, keep that in mind as you move forward. And so here's our first object, and our first object here is going to be labeled Google. And so as we associate Google and move forward, you'll see how these correlate. So again, repeat it as many times as you want, add as many objects as you'd like within there, and but we're only, for this demonstration purpose, we're only going to have two objects added. Okay, and then the other thing that I mentioned was we're actually going to change that title. So if we were to launch our project, the title on the beginning of the event screen was root view controller. We're actually going to give it a navigational item .title, and we're going to call it logos, how you guys saw when we went through the demonstration. And if I can type, there we go. So we've got that established there. Now we got to move down the screen a little bit, because we actually, if we ran our program right now, it wouldn't actually show YouTube or Google in there right now, and that's because of one of the limitations below. So if you move down, you'll see table view, and this is basically saying the number of rows in the section. So you're saying, well, what's a section? Well, if you move up, you can see number of sections in table. You can modify this to 2 sections, 3 sections, etc. In our case, 1 section is fine, but we do need to modify the table view and the number of rows in the section. So right now it's returning 0. So we're just going to comment that out, and we're going to write our own here. Return, and this is where we want to return our array, and that's why we established array, because as we add items to our array, we don't want to have to continually change this from 2 items to 3 items to 4 items, etc. We can simply write in here that we want to return our logo list count. And so then from here on out, the computer's going to say, well, how many items are there in their logo list up here? So as you can see, we've got 1 object, 2 objects, it's going to say, well, that's what I want to return, is 2 rows in our section. So we've got that there, and the last thing that we have to do is we have to configure the cell. And so if you move down a little bit, you go down pretty far. I passed it. There it is. Okay, so right in here we're gonna configure our cell. And configuring the cell is gonna give it the text and tell it what to write in our each cell. Cell.text label .text equals, and this is where again we're going to use our array, our logo list, object add index, and then we're going to specify index path dot row. And then again, right out of the configure the cell, we haven't had to delete anything out in this case. So we're going to go ahead and launch and run our application at this point. Alright, now we've got it launched, and there we go. We've got Google and YouTube specified, and then we've changed the title up here. So again, as we add different objects in here, they should appear simultaneously and in our array, and we'll go from there. So the next tutorial series we'll see how to actually associate the master list with the detailed view and adding different functions to the detailed view. So hope you guys learned a little bit. Again, subscribe, let me know what you guys are looking to do with your programs, and we'll work on coming up with solutions for you. Alright, peace out.